So we're coming off of the end of the previous chapter with Buddha defeating Hajun and unfortunately also Zero, who is getting a heartfelt goodbye. Then we're seeing Buddha rushed off to the sick bay, which kind of makes me laugh just a little bit because it's like, shouldn't these gods be above this stuff? At first I had a little difficulty kind of grasping exactly what was going on with this universe. But now, I understand that these gods are different, despite their superlative monikers. But then we come to this interesting dialogue exchange between him and Brune, where he says, "I really like your eyes, full of worldly desire." And he gets carted off to the operating room, and Brune says, "Stubborn worldly desire." What did Buddha mean by that? So I guess this is showing us that, pay attention to that, it could mean something deeper, which it very likely does. And it could mean that Brune has maybe more than one motive here with Ragnarok, or possibly an ulterior motive entirely altogether. I'm not really sure yet. I need to reread the earlier chapters, but I do think there are some breadcrumbs there for Brune's possible twist arc. But then we're cutting to Beelzebub, and he's throwing out all of his research, I guess, on the Hajun stuff. And Odin randomly shows up behind him and figures out that oh, you're the Hajun making dude. And then he says, "I have waited a long time in preparation for this battle. I will permit no one to disrupt it." He blasts all the papers up, and Beelzebub's a long time. How intriguing. So it's understandable that Odin would be preparing for this for a long time, because Ragnarok is a part of the Norse mythology, right? It's the Norse reverse Super Bowl, I guess, where the gods die or whatever the story is. I looked it up, and spoilers, Odin dies in the original story of Ragnarok, or I think the original, the Fenrir wolf kills him. Maybe there's multiple iterations, but that's the one that I read. So it's possible that's what happens to him in the series. I don't think so. Don't think you're being spoiled here, because I genuinely believe that it's not going to follow that one for one, because that would kind of be whack. So I don't think Odin is looking forward to his death that he somehow knows is going to happen, which is possible, but I don't think so, because then that would mean that he's just looking forward to going all out and having one last battle maybe. But no, I think he's more so looking at this as an opportunity to usurp power, possibly. I mean, there's a lot more to this than what the audience knows, and it's slowly being unraveled here to the point of where I think this whole tournament is just going to fall apart, and it's just going to be an all-out war eventually, towards the end of the series. And I think it's going to be in a gray area. There won't be one solid group that is probably right, if that makes sense. But we'll see what happens. I'm looking years into the future at this point. But also another reason why he could be trying to take over or whatever is because it's implied that he's a part of the top 4 gods, or at least later on. And when we get to it, I'll go more into that. But then we're coming to the standings and the match results, and the Greek gang here is talking about the imbalance in the teams. Since Buddha joined humanity, the gods are down 1 person now, and we get this comical little sequence where Hades thinks that Hermes wants him to join, so he's hesitantly volunteering to join. And before he's able to fully say it, Hades decides to join, and he says he's going to do it to avenge Poseidon, his brother. And this is amazing for multiple reasons, but I also speculated about this happening in my chapter 50 review. But I also thought that it was going to happen much later than this, but hey, sooner the better, I guess. Although he seems more of a final boss type thing. But like I said earlier, the end of the series could be all out war, so it doesn't really matter if he fights now, because he could just fight later too. But then he also takes off his eye patch, and his eye just kind of looks normal-ish, I guess. Maybe there's some kind of eye ability to it, some kind of Shardagon-esque thing. Obviously, eye abilities are a thing in this series, so I'm sure he has probably the most broken one. But then we're coming to Brune and Goal coming to their room, because I guess they're going to go over the roster, and we actually do see it come up here. I guess the first panel here is showing us more of their literal representations, but then in this panel we see what looks to be possibly Rasputin. But like I said, this could be his more literal representation, maybe not what his character design is going to be. But anyway, this is the big reveal of Nostradamus, who was cosplaying as Brune at first. But yeah, it turns out he's not this guy, but he's actually a magical boy. And also allegedly super powerful. So powerful, in fact, that Brune considers him to be their Joker, which in my opinion means that he's either going to be saved for the last fight or the penultimate fight. Either or, I don't really expect him to fight before that, especially now since we got the swerve on him possibly participating against Hades. So I'm pretty sure his introduction here is just to have him set up initially and to have him hyped up for like the next year or two, or even longer than that, because we're also getting some feats on him. So first of all, he's the only human in history to be sent to Helheim, and apparently he willingly stays there because Brune says that he could have broken out of there at any time he wanted, and he's like, yeah, I guess I could have. So that's pretty crazy and interesting. But also he's there because he broke the Bifrost. We're also getting an explanation for that in this chapter. It's the pathway between the three realms, Valhalla, Midgar, and Helheim. And we see him like breaking it in this one panel, but we don't know how he's doing it. So if you were hoping for a power or ability reveal for him in this chapter, we're not getting it, and we're probably not going to get it for a very long time. Just know that he is incredibly powerful for some reason. But going more into the Bifrost stuff, it brings me back to that top 4 that I was talking about earlier with Odin, because it says the only ones who can pass through it are those who belong to the chief gods, such as Hades, Zeus, Odin, and Shiva. So this may or may not be confirming like what the hard top 4 gods are. Now, I don't know if this is like literally the top 4, like everyone else that we have seen is beneath these guys. I don't know if that's the case, but at least right here, this is like some semblance of like a ranking system. So then we get the announcement for who is going to be participating for the gods in round 7, and of course it's Hades. And in response to this, Brune decides to pick a ruler for a ruler, the only one who can compete against the ruler of Helheim, and it turns out that it's Qin Shi Huang. So this guy apparently has some kind of ability or style or power or whatever that might be a good counter to whatever Hades can do. Because, I mean, I guess that's the case, right? Because why else would Brune specifically pick him and not use Nostradamus, since he's the Joker? And I think if a Joker would qualify for anything, it would be against Hades, right? Who's at least top 4, or allegedly, maybe. So this might be like a specific type of matchup thing. And I also like that Ares is just instantly jobbing to him here. Like, gotta love Ares. He also jobbed to Heracles, like back during his fight to establish how powerful he was. So I guess this means that like Qin Shi Huang is like at least on Heracles level, but I'm sure he's stronger than him. And that's where the chapter ends. And I'm sure some people might not think that this is gonna be the solid matchup, but I'm pretty sure that it is. I mean, it seems like it's being set up just as officially as any of the others have. And I'm expecting a Hades win here. Because like I said, I think he's going to stick around till the finale of the series. He seems too important to not be around till then. And Qin Shi Huang kind of strikes me as like the type of human who will likely lose. I mean, he seems cool. I like his design, and I'm sure he has awesome abilities, but I just don't see him taking Hades out here, but I could be wrong. But let me know what you think about this matchup in the comments. Who do you think is going to win between them? Or do you even think that this might not be the matchup? Let me know. And also, what do you think is going on with Odin and all that stuff and the Ragnarok? And do you think he's going to try to usurp or anything? Let me know. And if you like the video, guys, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.